Well, under the law, diba? There is, I
5
think,
pesos per candidate. For
under
an
the law.
independent.
Under the law. But if in reality, I don't think it's being declared, no? The amount that is really being spent. Because if you do that, they might be charged of overspending, which is an election offense. Now, if you ask me how much, I believe the answer there, the bigger the better.
You've tasted empanaditas and buns, but have you ever tasted papas con chorizo, curried chicken, pulled pork, double cheese, and tuna basil? Only Jinki's Kitchen offers these flavors. Catch a bite now of Jinki's Kitchen empanaditas and buns at Kmart, Monsterific at Cinca, and Talisay City, San Carlos, Silay City, Lopez East Center, and Lopez San Sebastian. Jinki's Kitchen empanaditas and buns, a pocket full of goodness. Nature's Perfect Lunchbox. For perfect eggs, fresh and clean, guaranteed all the time. For orders, text or call 0907-838-7958.
Attorney JV Hinlo is here with us once again, and the man needs no further introduction. Attorney, thank you so much for being here.
Salamat, Julius, no, for inviting me here again.
Let's have an appraisal of what's happening sa national level politics. Anong impression ni Musubong?
Everybody's in the dark, no? We're all waiting what will happen by October. Kasi even the administration does not seem to have decided whom to field as president. For Vice President, well, President Duterte already accepted the nomination of PDP Laban. But as to the presidency, Senator Bongo, who was being endorsed or nominated to be the presidential candidate, has refused the nomination. While the presidential daughter, Inday Sara, also said that she will not run if her father will run as vice president. So, insofar as the administration is concerned, they're waiting what will be the team that the administration will field by October. With regards to the other groups, I believe that only the group of Senator Lacson and Senator Soto have declared that they will be running. We have been hearing the groups of Senator Pacquiao, who said that he will decide these coming days. There's also those talking about Mayor Isko Moreno of Manila, who might be interested to run as president. There's also the group of former Senator Bongbong Marcos, no? BBM. And there's news, no, that his chief of staff sworn in as a member of Partido Federal ng Pilipinas, no? So this group, no, Partido Federal ng Pilipinas, was formerly created to support President Duterte, yet the chief of staff of BBM is now a member, no? And I believe he was given a high position if the news is correct. So will there be a swinging of support to Senator Marcos? Now there is a Vice President Leni Robredo who has not yet officially decided what to do, whether she will run as president, or there are news, no, that she might opt to run as governor in her place. So everybody is still waiting. Few more weeks, a month, we will have our definite answer.
And that is quite interesting because as of the moment, isa lang yung may certainty, Subong. It seems nga madalagan, although of course ang finalizations will be sa filings ng SCOC, and that is President Duterte as Vice President.
Well, there are some analysts, even within the administration, that says that until President Duterte actually files his certificate of candidacy, and even after he files his certificate of candidacy for VP, there is still a chance that
He could be substituted.
If it is done within the same party, if the substitute comes from PDP Laban, but it could also be that he could also withdraw from the race and support another candidate. Anything goes, no? Especially with our experience with President Duterte last 2016, wherein he ran as a substitute, no, of Martin Dino. So anything goes, whether he files or not. What if the president would just say na, I will not pursue my VP candidacy and support another candidate? It could still happen.
Let's go over the names and their alignments. Let's say there is an administration party. We have Senator Bongo, Inday Sara. Who else?
I believe, my personal belief is that for the administration, it will only be between Inday Sara and Senator Bongo.
So
there
two.
are those who hope that it could be BBM or Senator Marcos, no? Former Senator Marcos. But personally, for me, it's only two. Either Mayor Sara or Senator Bongo. Despite their pronouncements that they will not run.
Especially of Sara Duterte.
Both, I
Both.
believe.
Okay.
For both.
Now let's go to the opposition. Siyempre, ang dako would be the Vice President, Leni Robredo.
Well, I think I read a news item. We could just confirm it. Vice President Robredo said that she is meeting with different opposition figures, and who are they? There was a mention of Mayor Isko and a mention of Senator Pacquiao. And in that particular news which I have read, she said that she could possibly support the team up of Isko Pacquiao.
Although, as of now, ang iyang mga supporters diri sa Negros are waiting for this week or next week for her to finally declare.
Possibly, no, because she has not committed yet. Because the problem with that endorsement, if ever Vice President Robredo really said it, if ever she really said it, remember she said Isko Pacquiao. For her, possibly what is acceptable is Isko will be for the presidency and Pacquiao for the vice presidency. But a question that she has to overcome is that will Senator Pacquiao run as vice president? I believe Senator Pacquiao made some statement that he will not run as vice president. It's out of the option. It's either he runs as president, he retires from politics, or he continues as a senator.
Okay, so let's go over the possible candidates for the opposition once again. Leni Robredo, Isko Moreno, Manny
Senator
Pacquiao.
yeah.
You have Senator Tito Soto.
Lacson.
Ping Lacson. And there's also talk of Vico Soto.
Vico is not qualified to run for president
Which is why.
because of age. Yeah.
Age. But then again, grabe ka excited. So everyone wants to have his or her own candidate eh. Mixed match, no? So ang probable, because as of now, we cannot even call them aspirants eh. Because tanan posturing ni mo.
Yes. Except for Senator Lacson.
Why so?
Well, he declared that, publicly he declared that he will run.
Yes.
But still, we don't know until such time as the certificate of candidacy is filed. at least he said that he will run.
Let's have a little education for our viewers and also for myself. Normally, mag-amuni nga period, a year before or less than a year before an actual elections, ano ning kakatabo, may ara sang horse trading and jockeying for possessions. So, can we sing amuning stage subong?
I think one factor that they are also looking at are surveys. No? They want to see if they're strong enough to go for a certain position. So surveys are important to them. Also, their resources. And this is also the time to talk with businesses. Businesses, if they will get the support from businesses. This is also the time to organize at the grassroots level. And this time for organizing. But everything is on limbo until there's an official declaration of running or the filing of the candidacies.
But then it's also the time to show strength at this point.
Of course, of course.
Okay, let's go to the factors that could influence the outcome of an elections, and let's go over every candidate kung may ari sila. Now, let's talk about the factors. One, you should have a party that is national in scope.
It would help a lot because you're presumed to have the organization already, no? And you will be recognized by the COMELEC when you deal with the COMELEC. You will be allowed watchers. No? You will be allowed copies of the votes, election returns. But you can still run as an independent. That is still allowed, but it will have some limitations. No? With regards to a political party, it's important because if you're a member of a political party, the officials running for other offices who are also members of that political party, they are expected to support the national candidates of a political party. Example here in Negros, our governor, Bong Lacson, is, I believe, a member of NPC. So if NPC will field a presidential candidate for, let's say, it's in the person of Senator Lacson, who do you think will Bong Lacson support? Expectedly, his political party would demand from him to support Senator Lacson. And I think Governor Bong, in one of the interviews I've read, he was asked about the possible team up of Senator Bongo and President Duterte for President and VP. He said that I think he will not support that team up because he belongs to a political party.
Although surprisingly, we've seen a resurgence of parties that we thought were long lost, no, like Acción Democrático. Acción Democrático is the party of
Senator
former
Rocco.
presidential aspirant Raul Rocco. Patay na subong. Ang Aksyon, ang Reforma, former Defense Secretary Renato de Villa nga party. So, I don't know why this resurgence of parties, and does this indicate nga fractious na gid kayo ang national party?
Let's
subong?
put it this way. If a national figure wants to aspire to become a president, and he cannot get the nomination from his existing party, he will resign from his existing party and look for an available party. Just like the case, for example, of Mayor Isko. No? I think he was a member of another political party.
Anong iya ganito?
It's one of the I forgot the name. No, it's a political party, but there was news that party will support Inday Sara. That's why he transferred to Acción Democrático. That's the natural consequence. If one cannot agree with his existing party, he looks for another party.
Or, in the case of former President Ramos, you create your own party.
That is also another way. But right now, it's too late in the game. Lapit na lang ang aton nga filing. So, it's October. So, it's a jockeying of political parties. We've also heard that there's this Labor Party, an alleged Labor Party, previously offering Senator Pacquiao to be the standard bearer. But when Senator Pacquiao says that he wants to run under PDP Laban with his faction of it, I read that this Labor Party is suspending their support for Senator Pacquiao. So even members of political parties, they want to have their own presidential candidate, not only as a guest candidate.
So for all intents and purposes, ang two-party system sa Pilipinas has long been gone.
I don't think that it is applicable to us as of now because each one have their own agenda. They want to belong to a political party where they believe their beliefs, their ideology, and for practicality, their intention to run to a particular office will be supported by that party.
Okay, let's go to one thing. Anong kinanglan sa isa kandidato to win an election? As we have mentioned na it's a party, and number two, resources. Mga pinanggastuhon mo. We're talking about 61 provinces. 61 provinces wherein you have to mount your campaigns and sorties. Mga pinanggastuhon.
Well, under the law, diba? There is, I
5
think,
pesos per candidate.
for
an independent.
Under the law. But if in reality, I don't think it's being declared, no? The amount that is really being spent, because if you do that, they might be charged of overspending, which is an election offense. Now, if you ask me how much, I believe the answer there, the bigger the better. No? The bigger the amount, the better. Because expenses during election time cannot be computed. People will offer their services to support you, but these people are expecting resources or money for them to be able to campaign. Because they need to feed, no, the political workers. They need expenses for transportation. There's a separate expense for the D-Day for the watchers. There's an expense for advertisement. So
We're talking about legal spending.
Sa legal spending, for as long as they meet the limit, then they can do so. It's per voter. Let's say
3 pesos per
we
voter.
are already 100 million population, or let's say voters wise
50 million na be.
let's say 70 million, for example.
70 times 3.
Times
That's
3,
210 million.
But we have been hearing, no, 210 could be a budget already for some governor, but for a presidential run, it might not be enough. But these are all talks. I cannot claim to know the nitty-gritty because we have to be a part of that presidential group, no, aspirants group, to see the accounting, how it is spent. But in reality, there are expenses not declared.
But ang elections in 2022 is somewhat unique in the sense na this would be the first elections amid a pandemic. That's one. There's also the possibility that it could be a purely online campaign if the COMELEC decides to do so. And number 3, even if nga election siya at the end of a presidential term, but it seems to me nga daw midterm election siya because we are still talking about the verdict for the Duterte name. So I really don't know because the president is still popular. Everyone is still talking about Duterte, not a different candidate. So the midterm elections yapon siya.
Probably, no. I'm part of the administration.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned what are needed, no. I believe personally that the candidates must have a program to offer to the people, because you cannot win by having money alone, by having a political party alone, by having an organization alone.
A platform.
You have to have a platform. You have to have that program. You should push for a program. It's just that we don't know if the voters are fond of it. Probably for us, the two of us, we want to hear what are the plans of a candidate for the country. But there are some that are blind followers. There are some also that they just like the name. So the electorates, no, whether they're the most intellectual, whether they are uneducated. The good thing about elections and democracy, their votes are all equal. So even if you're a lawyer as against somebody who was not formally working, no, their votes are the same.
But basically, this is also a judgment on the Duterte legacy. So it's like Bacolod actually nga may advocate sang change, may advocate continuity.
My personal opinion is that we cannot just offer continuity. The administration, if it pushes for a mere continuity, I don't think it will work. Because there are still many rooms to improve within the administration.
Let's say for the war on drugs, some say it proved to be a disaster in terms of lives lost.
Well, that is one side of the opinion. But there are those also thinking whose lives were lost. Were those lives that were lost the lives of the innocent, or were those lives lost the lives of those who are involved in drugs?
But some would counter nga they were not actually given due process.
Well, but if you look at things, no, there's this argument: who are these personalities that are no longer around? If you try to be technical, you are presumed innocent unless convicted. And even under the law, we don't have any death penalty. Even under the law. But if you look at the practical side of society, will the people feel safer now as compared to when certain personalities are still engaged in the business of drugs, of illegal drugs? So we've been hearing in the news that many personalities allegedly involved in drugs are already deceased, no? So,
but then the drug trade continues.
Because the problem is really that bad. It's really that bad. Probably because of lack of work, lack of opportunities. That's why we cannot solve that problem. Admittedly, if people are in a state wherein they're desperate, they have nothing to feed their family for the next week, next day, or even today, they may resort into drastic activities such as drug pushing, hold-upping, and
but that
crimes.
is also an argument against the administration, because what happened was nag-campaign against illegal drugs, but there was no economic alternative.
As what I've told you, we could have done it better. We could have done it better. I'm a proponent for industrialization, wherein we should have more manufacturing firms here in the country. Because once you have factories, you provide people with work. I'm a proponent with state-managed farming, wherein government will be allowed to do agribusiness, even if it's more than 3 hectares, working in government lands and working through rented or leased lands from our farmers. And in so doing, if government engages in big agribusiness, it will be able to hire many workers with good pay, because pay in government is much higher than pay in the private sector.
But are you hoping that someone in the next administration, whoever that would be, nga halin sa administration party, would pay attention to your suggestion?
I'm hoping that whoever sits in Malacanang, whoever sits in Congress, would push for these programs, because I personally believe, insofar as the economy of our country is concerned, we need to be industrialized, we need more factories, we need state-managed farming to create many jobs.
And everyone was hoping that Duterte would do it under his term.
Up to now, I'm still hopeful. And up to now, I've been reminding those whom I know within the administration to do that, but my voice within the administration is small. I was not given a position at the cabinet level wherein I would really fight for it. Whether it's the next administration will be a Duterte-friendly administration or another administration, I will personally continue to push for industrialization and the state-managed farming. And another thing, for the long-term solution of many problems attending the country, we need to have a subject in our education system from elementary up to college, a subject which I titled as Philippine Patriotism and Ethics Studies.
In a time of Korean novellas and K-pop, you want that?
Yeah, we want that. Even if it's 1 hour per week, no? From a young age up to college, if we introduce certain subjects that would endear, that would appeal to the youth to love their country, to do good things, to avoid doing criminal activities, to be taught what is proper, to be taught to love family, I think they will be able to absorb it.
Mas puti galing ang kutis ng Korean, sir. And a lot of, young people are drawn to them.
Yes.
Which is quite tragic.
But, if we look at, we've listened to certain societies that have reformed, no? And whose people are really supporting government, or they have a national fervor, just like Japan, just like even China, they're bombarded with education that is pro-national national consciousness, nationalism.
I am actually in favor of that, and that is quite interesting, and I hope later on we can talk more about it.
Yes.
A lengthier interview of the show. But in the meantime, again, we'll recap. So, we are still in the dark about our national or our candidates for president as of the moment.
Yeah, as what I told you, even within the administration, they don't know who will run for president. The VP, the president is there, but the faction of Senator Pacquiao and Senator Pimentel does not even want to support President Duterte for vice president. So, the opposition, among the opposition figures, only Senator Lacson has declared that he will run for president, and only Senator Soto has signified his intention to run as VP. The rest, to include the Vice President, will still decide on it. We're all waiting.
Yes. On that note, Attorney J.V. Hinlo, sir, I hope to see you once again, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Julius.